Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. And unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league?
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Halftime in the Sugar Bowl between Georgia and Ole Miss. That line has moved, by the way, from 12.5 to 11.5 to now 10.5 on the live market. So maybe Brady, it's all those people out there listening to us pushing the line in our favor. We will find out. Well, I guess against us. I shouldn't even say in our favor, against us. But heeding our advice, following our words. So it's been a lot of college football over the last couple hours. This is hour 3 in-game live game day. Let's move to the NFL for a little bit here with our next guest, Larry Hartstein, who is a senior analyst at Sportsline over at CBS and a good friend of the program as well. Larry, how are you?
Great to be with you guys. Happy New Year.
And to you. And, as Brady, before we even start getting into specific games, and obviously a couple of really interesting ones on Saturday, and then a lot of things to be determined seeding-wise in most cases coming up on Sunday. Brady's mentioned this a couple of times. Just the efforts of handicapping Week 18 in the NFL and knowing that there are a lot of unknowns. We can pinpoint the teams that are playing for something, trying to get into the postseason or fighting for a particular seed. But there are a lot of teams out there and a lot of games featuring multiple teams going head-to-head that have nothing to play for. And so you wonder, okay, how are they approaching it? How are they handling it? We're waiting to find out which guys are going to be active, which ones are not. But certainly coaches are not going to tip their hands in terms of, this he's going to play, but he might only play for a half, and then we're going to get him out of there. We're paying attention to, there are all sorts of articles out there about incentives and money that can be made for players here in Week 18. So where does the handicapping process start for you?
The first thing is that everything having to do with an incentive is already baked into the line. Everything having to do with motivation, that's already baked into the line. I'm staying away from anything where I don't know what the rotation is going to be, where I'm unclear on who's going to play and who's not. But I think some of these games, even with teams that are out of the race, a team like the Falcons, I don't think there's any doubt that they're going all out to win these games down the stretch. You have a coach, coaching for his job. You have Kirk Cousins auditioning for next season. We've seen the way they've played down the stretch in all these meaningless games, and yet they're going all out. So I think that's a team that, even though there isn't any motivation for the playoffs, I think we know they're not sitting anyone at this point.
Yeah, Larry, I kind of identified one game early in the week. It was just my initial reaction to when we get into week 17 and week 18, and a lot of these teams have nothing to play for and the game doesn't matter, this and that. I think one coach that completely scraps that mentality and absolutely shows up with his best foot forward that we've seen him do on prior occasions is Dan Campbell. I don't think he cares what the heck the situation is going into Chicago. He's trying to win that game. I kind of like the Lions getting points against the Bears, who do have a little bit to play for as far as seeding position.
Yeah, and you remember the game at that season finale when they had nothing to play for and they went all out when they were sort of an up and coming team. And I do agree. I think they'll go all out. I think anyone who can play will play. The thing that I like with Chicago in that game is their ability to run the ball and the way the Lions have fallen apart against the run. I think it's 6.5 yards per carry over the last 3 games. They've allowed Brian Branch, one of their best run stoppers. Since he left, they have just completely fallen apart against the run. Pittsburgh ran for 230, Minnesota ran for about 160, and that's what the Bears do well with Swift and Monangai. So that's why I lean Bears in that one, because that is a big motivation to play for that 2 seed.
Why don't we go over to the Saturday games? And obviously the nightcap is the most interesting, in part because, you guys, you were just talking about the Lions. Now, the Lions have supremely disappointed me this year, but I think back to what happened in the final week of the regular season last year when it was Detroit against Minnesota, not only trying to win that division, but trying to capture the number 1 overall seed and first round bye. And sure enough, it's the same quarterback who was on the losing side of that last year that is involved in the exact same situation this year, except in the NFC West. And that's Sam Darnold and his Seahawks now, who are slight favorites against the Niners, who, to me, one part of the handicap, too, as Brady and I were touching on last night, is Offensive Player of the Year might be decided by this game. Is it Jackson Smith-Njigba? Is it Christian McCaffrey? How are you looking at this one in terms of who wins, who gets that top seed, and some of the fallout that comes from it?
Well, everyone saw Sam Darnold crumble, not only in that game, but in the playoff game that followed, seeing ghosts, completely unable to handle pressure, making terrible decisions. But there's no Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. The Niners have one of the worst pressure rates, if not the worst pressure rate in the entire NFL. So I think it's going to be more of a comfortable game for Sam Darnold. I don't think we're going to see the 3-4 picks type of a performance. And I like the Seahawks, even though they won't have Charles Cross, their left tackle. Looks like the backup is good to go. You have Trent Williams, George Kittle, other guys that will play but probably aren't 100%, including Christian McCaffrey. You have a defense that's been very susceptible to the run outside from the game against the Colts. If you look at their last 5 or 6 games, they've been getting shredded on the ground. Even the Bears had a very high average. So I think Zach Charbonnet over 42.5, that's a bet that I placed because he ran really well last week and he's decisive. He doesn't always try to bounce it outside like Ken Walker does. So I like that play, but I like Seattle -1. I just think they are the much better defense in this game. And the Niners, look at this great matchup when they put up 40 plus against the bad defense, and they play a good defense like the Browns or even Carolina averaged under 5 yards per play. So I think it will be Seattle in a tight one, let's say by a field goal.
Let's look at the other Saturday game, Larry, that obviously means a lot as well. It'll be the title of the AFC or NFC South division, rather, on the line between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home hosting the Carolina Panthers. We saw Tampa Bay open as a 3.5-point favorite. It was bet down to 3. We've even seen it bet down to 2.5. Now, there's some 3s back out there in the market, depending on who you like. You want to take the 3, you want to lay the 2.5. You've got that option. Where do you sit between Tampa Bay and Carolina?
This is crazy, given a few weeks ago, Tampa was laying 3 in Carolina, and that's how much the market is down on them. And why not? 8 straight non-covers, 1 win in their last 8 weeks. And as much as I want to buy on them at their low point, I mean, I really do, especially at 2.5. I just can't do it because Jamel Dean is out. This secondary is so bad. 17 passing touchdowns allowed in their last 8 weeks, and now they're down their worst corner. They're not their best corner, Jamel Dean. They're not getting pressure either. So I'm lean Carolina in this game. I would definitely want the 3 though.
How about we go all the way to Sunday night? We know Lamar Jackson is going to play for the Ravens in this game. What he's going to look like, what percentage of himself he's going to be. Will he run? Any of these things we don't know. Makes you wonder if Harbaugh is just going to once again lean on Derrick Henry and try and carry them to that AFC North title and a spot in the playoffs. I am waiting personally for the Steelers to completely fall apart and crumble, to use the word from before here, especially with no DK Metcalf to help out Aaron Rodgers. I think the line is set appropriately, but we all know what Mike Tomlin does as an underdog in general, and especially here in division against the Ravens. So where would you go?
This is a tough one because, yeah, everything points to Baltimore. Pittsburgh, embarrassed themselves last week. The offense without DK Metcalf is much, much worse. And Darnell Washington out, that is a huge loss for the Steelers as well. However, you're giving me over a field goal with, the master of the home dog in Mike Tomlin. And the one thing I like, guys, is Aaron Rodgers has had 3 really bad games this year with a passer rating below 70. One of those was last week against Cleveland, missing wide open guys on 4th down. Every single time he has come back with a very strong performance. That happened earlier against Baltimore. He was terrible against the Bills, and he came back and he diced apart the Ravens, 284 yards, flawless in that game. So I think Rodgers plays well. I would lean Pittsburgh, but I would wait. I think you're going to get a 4.
Interesting. We'll certainly keep an eye on that. We're not done with Larry. We're going to keep going around the NFL and look at some of these opportunities to make ourselves some money. As again, teams not only trying to get into the postseason, but others jockeying for seeding, maybe strategically setting paths for themselves as well toward the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. Much more with Larry Hartstein from CBS when we come on back.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. Unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze, he's got you got DJ Moore, you got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
We have Larry Hartstein with us, senior analyst over at CBS Sportsline, talking through Week 18 in the NFL. And this is not necessarily a game, Larry, that a lot of people are going to be keyed in on while they're flipping through the channels or watching Red Zone or whatever they're doing, obviously, in that early window. But it is an interesting game in that you've got Atlanta as roughly a field goal favorite. There's certainly some 3.5s out there. playing host to the Saints. Kirk Cousins has played better of late, kind of auditioning maybe for other teams. I think it's an interesting QB dynamic there in Atlanta, has been since his arrival and the drafting of Michael Penix Jr., obviously. On the other side, and this is just sort of fun futures talk, right? You have Tyler Shuck, who at one point was 300 to 1 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And now, I think with a win in this game, might get there against Ted McMillan, honestly, the way things have been going for him and for McMillan on the other side. How do you handicap this game?
Adam, I think he will get there if he throws for over 300 yards and they win without Chris Olave. He might deserve it, even though he only has, 9 touchdowns so far this season. I mean, he's been incredible the last few weeks, but I think this is a bad spot because if you look at the defenses that he has just carved up, there's been no pressure on him. Now you're going to an Atlanta team that pressures the quarterback. We saw what they can do at home against Matthew Stafford. This is the best team in the NFC South. I mean, it is a crime that they have managed to take themselves out of the game. They muff a punt Jets. They miss an extra point in New England. I mean, there's like 4 games that they should have had. They should at least have split those games, and then they would be in control of this division. They have more talent to me than any team in the division, and Raheem Morris deserves to be fired, but he's coaching for his job. Kirk Cousins is playing well down the stretch. Drake London still has some things to go for personally. So I just like the Falcons in this spot. I think Tyler Shuck, it's a great story, but without Olave, there's really nobody left except for Juwan Johnson.
Larry, I'm wondering how you approach a few of these games where you have clearly the better team facing a team that has nothing left to play for except to be the spoiler. And looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars laying double digits to the Tennessee Titans, you've got the Houston Texans laying double digits to the Indianapolis Colts. And then you also have Adams Patriots laying double digits to the Jets. Are there any of these dogs that you think can make a little noise here, or would you be on all 3 favorites?
I'm not going to touch the Texans or the Jaguars against the spread, especially because the Texans could take their foot off the gas once they see that the Jaguars are ahead. They won't have any reason to go all out. But the Patriots, they wish they could play the Jets again. I mean, everybody wishes you could play the Jets again, but they have to play the Dolphins this week. But I still think it is a great spot for the Patriots because they want to get the number 2 seed. So they're going to be motivated. We've seen how they handle bad teams. And if you guys check the injury report today, we could have no Devon Achane. Waddle is banged up. Chop Robinson's in concussion protocol. I mean, it is bleak for the Miami Dolphins against a motivated Patriots team that has taken care of business in these spots. And Quinn Ewers was impressive, in that first half last week. But now going to New England, it'll be cold. Let's see what happens. I would definitely lean towards the Patriots. I would love to get a 10, but right now only seeing 10.5.
To bring the real world into it for a moment, I know we don't like to do that as sports fans, obviously, Larry, but the Patriots this week, obviously on the wrong side of news. Stephon Diggs, Christian Barmore, a couple of key players, Diggs especially within that offense with Mac Hollins on IR and done for a while, if not the entire season. Both these guys are dealing with allegations of abuse. Mike Vrabel, the head coach, has not indicated that either will miss this game. There are no indications that either one is going to head on the NFL commissioner exempt list. But factoring that into the handicap, I mean, there's always the chance, especially given the Patriots really don't necessarily need those guys to win this game. Does it enter the way you look at this?
No, I mean, we haven't seen any indication that they're going to miss, and just sticking to the football aspect of it, obviously, and not touching some serious allegations. The Patriots have not really relied on one receiver all season. They have used a whole bunch of guys. Drake May has been amazing at finding whoever he has out there. So I'm not really worried about that slowing down the offense if Diggs were to miss.
Larry, is there a dog on the board? We've talked about how difficult this week is. Is there? I mean, it almost every favorite looks attractive. Is there a dog that you think has a fighting chance here in Week 18?
Well, you got to be right. You got to be careful in Week 18, especially if you look at a board like you said, and you only see good things from the favorites. I mean, the Arizona Cardinals are impossible to make a case just how badly they've played. But if the 49ers win the game, that 7.5 or whatever it is right now would look very attractive, given the Rams would be locked in and would have zero to play for and would just be totally benching everyone. So that's kind of like a free pick right there, given that you have a chance to cover if they are motivated, and you also have a great chance to cover if the Rams bench everyone. That said, Brady, I'm like you, and I have not played a dog yet this week.
Larry, can't help but notice, obviously, the Jaguars pennant behind you on the shelf there. When it comes to the Super Bowl odds, a wide open AFC, what chances do you give the Jaguars to make some noise, go on a run? Because unquestionably, this is one of the hottest teams in football over the last 10 weeks.
Yeah, totally wide open in the AFC. I think this is going to be the most exciting playoffs we've had in years. It's actually open on both sides, which I love. But the team that I would look for that's down the board is the Chargers. I think very smart to rest everyone this week. They have a great coach. They have a great quarterback. And I wouldn't put it past them going into New England and Jesse Minter frustrating Drake May, and then getting a chance to go to Denver, a team they've already beaten, and then you're one win away from the Super Bowl with a coach like Harbaugh.
Well, Larry, we'll get into our final seconds here, but Adam wants to hear your opinion here. Are his Patriots going to win the Super Bowl?
Obviously, yeah.
I don't think so. Not this year. Great season. I'm not going to criticize the schedule. Great team, but I don't think they're going all the way.
With the MVP Drake May, Larry Hartstein, senior analyst over at CBS Sports Line. Thank you very much, sir.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
I know exactly what Patriot Nation is screaming this morning. It's Drake May time. Give him the trophy. MVP. Stop it, please. Just sit down. Yes, Drake May has had a nice season. But let's be real. He has played a JV schedule of defenses. He is carving up the easiest slate of defenses in the NFL this season. Congratulations on your beatdown of the Jets.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The champagne pops. The clock strikes 12. But New Year's isn't won at midnight. It's won on the gridiron. Every snap, every number, every edge that matters. Don't just watch the ball drop. Watch the odds drop. College football playoff coverage. Live lines. Smart analysis. All New Year's Day. Only on SportsGrid.
Great stuff out of Larry Hartstein. It was good to get, dovetail into the NFL for just a little bit. We'll get back to it. We've got you for another hour or so, but we have not updated you in a little while on this big Sugar Bowl game, obviously, between Georgia and Ole Miss. And, truthfully, you haven't missed anything. It's still 21-12 here, 8.5 to go, third quarter. So midway through the third, we have seen no movement other than really in the total. It's come down quite a bit. We were up over 60, Brady. Now we're at 53.5. And Ole Miss is starting the process of trying to put a drive together. It's moved the line to 8.5. So some interesting movement in both areas, considering obviously the score has not changed.
Yeah, Georgia had moved it down into Ole Miss territory, and that line was still hovering around 10.5 or so, but they missed a field goal attempt. So they turn it over to Ole Miss, and the line, like you say, dips down to now 8.5 as far as the side's concerned. And, we were talking about this at halftime. Ole Miss really hasn't had much problem moving the ball on offense. They've had a couple of drives result in field goals, and then they had the one turnover that resulted in a Georgia touchdown. But now they've got the ball 1st and 10 at their own 37-yard line. So, they're in good position once again. And that's exactly where we stand. 8.5, 53.5, no movement in the market just yet. And looks like they have yet to run a play here. Still 1st and 10 from their own 37.
What do you think of the total?
Oh, boy. You asked me at halftime
Efficient?
when it was. Yeah, it's pretty good at this point, I think. It's obviously right where it closed prior to kickoff here. So far, I've been correct in saying I expected the scoring to slow down in the second half. You and I basically came to the conclusion that we thought Ole Miss was a good play catching 11.5. Obviously, that's now down to 7.5 as they continue to move the ball. They're now into Georgia territory at the 45-yard line, 2nd and short, 2nd and 4 for the Rebels. So the offense continues to move for the underdog here, and the total staying put. Boy, I think, when it was up near 60, that's when I liked to go under. When it was down in the low 40s, I said that's when I like to go over. And now we're right in between, and I'm stuck for an answer at this point at 53.5.
Don't blame you whatsoever. You're up to 200 passing yards out of Chambliss. Lacey, 74 on the ground again. Chambliss has the one touchdown. On the other side, Frazier, 59 rushing, 2 touchdowns, both for the quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, in terms of the rushing. Stockton, 105 passing. Dylan Bell got in here for a couple of pass attempts as well. Frazier is also the leading receiver in this one on the Georgia side, just 2 for 31, 4 short gains for Zachariah Branch. Meanwhile, 75 for with the big gain of 39, as we noted earlier. But yeah, 21-12 still. Have to wonder if Ole Miss is going to put something together here. But 3rd and 2.
Got a situation, 4th and 4. And I think they're beyond field goal. They've got to go for this, I think, Adam. 4th and 4 from the Georgia 45. That's a 62-yard field goal. I don't. The kid's got a leg, obviously. I don't know if he's got that kind of leg. Our prior guest, Nick Bogdanovich, called him the Brandon Aubrey of college football. Maybe he does have that type of leg. But 4th and 4, I got to believe Ole Miss is going to go for this one and try and convert here to keep this drive alive.
Well, listen, if you've got an Aubrey-type leg, I would just kick. But I'm not so sure, like you said, among these college guys that they necessarily do. But we'll monitor it and find out. Now, it looks like I've got it up on my screen here. It looks like on 4th and 3.
Spreads come down. Oh, wow. 1st and goal. 1st and goal to the Georgia 9-yard line. So big play there. They did go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, so about 20 air yards. About 20 air yards from just beyond the 50 to inside the 30, and then carried it in another, 10, 15, whatever it was. And like you said, just now, I think just inside the 10, they're sitting. We'll get the exact down and distance. But 1st and goal, as you noted, in this 21-12. So huge pickup there, and it was for 36 yards by Wallace down to the 8-yard line. So that was big. You were right. Be aggressive, and it paid off.
Number down to 5.5 in the live market, and Chambliss really having a great game. 199 yards passing now. He's got the one touchdown, 22 of 33. Lacey, as you mentioned, 74 yards on the ground. Wallace now with 99 yards receiving. The offense looks great for the Rebels. Can they win the game? I still don't quite think so.
I just want Georgia to get that 2.5. That's all I care about. So, yeah, not rooting on the Ole Miss win, but we'll see what winds up happening. 2nd and goal to Georgia 7. More on the way.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
I know exactly what Patriot Nation is screaming this morning. It's Drake May time. Give him the trophy. MVP. Stop it, please. Just sit down. Yes, Drake May has had a nice season. But let's be real. He has played a JV schedule of defenses. He is carving up the easiest slate of defenses in the NFL this season. Congratulations on your beatdown of the Jets.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The champagne pops. The clock strikes 12. But New Year's isn't one at midnight. It's one on the gridiron. Every snap, every number, every edge that matters. Don't just watch the ball drop. Watch the odds drop. College football playoff coverage. Live lines. Smart analysis. All New Year's Day. Only on SportsGrid.
Okay, we got the touchdown for Ole Miss there, Brady, and obviously Nick Bogdanovich is out there somewhere happy, obviously, because the spread, what was once 12.5, is now all the way down to 3.5. Lacey, the short rushing score from 7 yards out. So the total bumps back up to 57.5. That's even money to the over. But again, we're looking after the extra point, not going for 2, the extra point. So it's 21-19, a 2-point advantage for Georgia, and the Bulldogs will be getting the ball with about 5 minutes to go in the third.
Tough to say where this game's going to go from here, Adam. You've got 40 points on the board, okay? And 57.5, obviously you need 17, 18 points to get this over the total. You've got the entire fourth quarter plus almost 5 minutes left in the third. That seems like a lot of runway to get this thing over the total. Ole Miss's offense has been operating, very efficiently. Georgia, not as much, really. Again, we go back to that turnover. They had the scoop and score, which was a huge thing for this team. They missed a field goal their last drive. I think this is telling right here. What Georgia does on offense right here, I think is going to say a lot where this game goes in the next half hour or so.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it and see if we can get any sort of real movement out of Georgia. The last thing you'd like to see, to your point, is the Bulldogs, not necessarily go 3 and out, but stall out, right? Maybe one first down pickup, you don't quite reach midfield, you got to punt it away, and you just keep that momentum on the other side. I think even if you don't come away with a touchdown, ideally you got to get at least a field goal here. Just again, bleed some clock and put some of the pressure back on that defense. You don't want anyone to get comfortable, basically. It's part of it, and also rested in any way, shape, or form either. But again, Georgia with the 21-19 advantage, laying 3.5, and again, a total of 57.5 in this one. Let's go back to the NFL for just a little bit. I know we'll do much more of this when we're together in a couple of days on Saturday. We'll get into all the Survivor minutia as those plays are released. Contest plays are something obviously we will typically do Saturday as well, but this week, well, I'm sure it's the same every week, but because we don't typically talk this early in the week, when are those due? When does everything have to be finalized, or has it already?
No, it's Saturday. The deadline, obviously this is not a holiday week like Thanksgiving or Christmas where you've got some games kind of midweek and that type of thing. There's no Thursday game this week either in the NFL. So the deadline remains the same, which is Saturday afternoon. It's 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern at Circa, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern at the Westgate Superbook. So, basically 4 o'clock in the afternoon out here in the West Coast on Saturday is when you have to submit your picks by. And, there's a lot on the line. We were talking about Survivor a little bit last night, and these teams that are left. Basically, everybody's got Atlanta and Carolina available. A couple people have Minnesota available. A couple people have Cincinnati available. One guy has New England available. Apparently, one contestant, there's 6 remaining entries playing for almost $19 million. The inherent value of that ticket that these people all purchased for $1,000 over the summer is now worth better than 3.1 million. So, all kinds of ways to monetize, hedge, whatever you want to do, get some people to invest in your corporation, if you will. A lot of different ways to try and make some money here. But it's getting down to the nitty gritty, obviously the final week when you don't have the juggernauts available, the Bills and the Lions and the Bears. And, I think there is one guy that has the Bears available, but I'm not sure you want to play that in a tough division contest. So, some of these big favorites like New England, Minnesota, a lot of people have Tampa Bay. That one is sketchy. A lot of people lost on Tampa Bay. 4 entries lost on Tampa Bay last week when they lost outright. So, it's getting interesting here with 6 entries left. And again, not exactly the blue bloods left available to use.
What do you, and I know obviously dare to dream, right? You haven't specifically been in this position, so it's hard to know what do you do. But if you're one of the 6, and like you said, implied value per entry of $3 million off the $1,000 ticket, are you looking for people to invest in your corporation, as you put it, or are you just looking, to keep it by yourself, but those hedge opportunities and talking with Circa and getting that big hefty line of credit?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think you have to investigate that. But yeah, having not been in this position, you don't know if these people, if their phone's ringing and people want to get in, hey, I want to buy in for 10% or 10,000 or whatever it is, you don't really know. Or is it something where you have to go out there and solicit that type of thing? I'm not sure. I think the tough part is managing that portfolio, right? I mean, you talk about a corporation, so to speak. There's so many different ways that you can try and monetize. When you're holding a ticket like that, Adam, that has that kind of value, and basically, if you win this week, you get a piece of 19 million. If you lose, if your team loses, boy, I hope you did something to offset it the other way. And does that mean people, joining your team and investing, or does that mean people, or going, like you said, to Circa and opening up a massive line of credit and hedging your bet? You got to do something. I don't advise just going in there cold, because we've talked about this as well. When you get to this point, if you've gone this far, it's so lucky to have gone this far. It's lucky just to get to Thanksgiving. Now you've gone 4 weeks beyond that. It's so lucky just to get here. You don't want to walk away empty-handed. And because there's so many different opportunities available to you, you got to manage that portfolio as well, because you could end up, costing yourself money, making too many bets this way and not enough this way, or what have you. You really need some expertise and some advice on how to handle this situation.
Well, and especially like you said, if this were back around Thanksgiving and we're talking about, and I don't know, I'm making numbers up, but the potential to walk away with a couple $100,000. I don't want to poo-poo that amount of money. That's a lot of money. But you start to get north of $3 million, and that is for X number of years, life-changing money. That's, send all your kids to college kind of money, obviously. And beyond that, whatever your situation is, everybody's different. So to your point, you cannot walk away with nothing at this point in time. You need to, I think anyway, again, I haven't been in this position. I can't imagine I ever will be unless, who knows, all those stars align. But I can't fathom even being comfortable walking away with less than what the value of your ticket is right now. I mean, that is a considerable chunk of change.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, you're in a pretty good situation if all you did was hedge. I mean, let's say you're the guy that has the New England Patriots left, okay? You're
Right.
going to get a massive money line price on the Miami Dolphins to win that game. I don't know, what is it, 8-1, maybe something like that. So you go down there and you meet with Derek Stevens and you get this. He knows exactly what's going on. Obviously, he doesn't have a problem laying out the credit for you because he knows you're good for it. You might win 19 million, So apparently, by the way, Georgia has added a field goal. I saw that they had gotten it into Mississippi territory there around the 22.
I'll let you finish your point, and then I'll tell you how that happened exactly, because it's pretty interesting.
Okay. So anyway, you don't, it's not like you have to land on the favorite and you have to lay out a very expensive price to cover yourself, right? Your hedge is going to be on the dog because your survivor pick is going to be on the Patriots. Your hedge is going to be on Miami, and to win 2 million, what do you have to put down? 500,000 or something like that. So it's a pretty safe position from a hedge standpoint going into this final week.
All right, so we said the last thing Georgia could afford to do in terms of momentum is 3 and out. Incompletion, 5-yard run, incompletion, setting up a 4th and 5 at the Georgia 30 is where they were. And then, Brady, a fake punt from their own 30.
Wow.
Converted that for 16, got the first, incompletion, 31-yard pass, a series of shorties, and then the field goal good from the Ole Miss 19. And so 24-19, Georgia is leading this thing, 30 seconds to go in the third.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
I know exactly what Patriot Nation is screaming this morning. It's Drake May time. Give him the trophy. MVP. Stop it, please. Just sit out. Yes, Drake May has had a nice season, but let's be real. He has played a JV schedule of defenses. He is carving up the easiest slate of defenses in the NFL this season. Congratulations on your beatdown of the Jets.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The champagne pops. The clock strikes 12. But New Year's isn't won at midnight. It's won on the gridiron. Every snap, every number, every edge that matters. Don't just watch the ball drop. Watch the odds drop. College football playoff coverage. Live lines. Smart analysis. All New Year's Day. Only on SportsGrid.
So again, it's 24-19. The Georgia Bulldogs are leading the Sugar Bowl here, and more notably, the college football playoff quarterfinal game. Very interesting game, the way this thing has been playing out. And Brady, most importantly, because we've not been on all day here on Sports Grid, we've just been on for the nightcap, but there have been 3 college football playoff games today, and the first 2 very much duds. Not entertaining in the very least. And the fact that this one is, I am grateful for. And so we've had a little bit of a back and forth affair. Georgia's been in front for a little while, but obviously Ole Miss is staying close. 5-point deficit, and now starting to string something together here, maybe with its final drive of the third quarter, trying to bleed that into the fourth. But laying 5.5 are the Bulldogs now with this 5-point lead at plus 120 roughly, and the total 56.5.
Yeah, the way Mississippi has been moving the football, it feels like we've got a 3 or 4 point game on our hands. I think 5.5 might be a take. It's less than what the original number was prior to kickoff, which I'm not always comfortable with. And the margin is 5 points. So it's not all that, different from what the spread was. But it just feels like they're going to continue to hang around, Adam. I think the total is really interesting, too, because you've got now 43 points on the board. And we're heading down. In fact, we're into the fourth quarter now. Time's run out in the third. So we're going to the final frame here with 43 points on the board. That's basically 10 points expecting here in the fourth quarter for what our pregame total was. That was 53.5, right? So are we going to get 10 points in the fourth quarter at least? I would think so. I talked earlier about the original number being 55.5 before it was steamed down to 53.5. I wouldn't mind under 55.5, the live number 56.5. I don't know, a lot to decide here in the final 15 minutes. What do you think? You think we're going to get more than 10, 12 points? You think we're going to get a couple touchdowns here in the final quarter?
I can't tell you no with enough conviction to want to bet the under. So I'll start by saying that. Nothing's going to surprise me because, you hit on it right off the top of that. We're seeing these teams both able to move the football. Now, a lot of the time Ole Miss has stalled out. Obviously, there's, only a couple of touchdowns here in this one on that side. We've seen multiple field goals, but, Georgia, it was a field goal last time around, but still the creativity and the insistence upon getting down there and just wanting to put points on the board, not even being content punting the ball away from your own 25-yard line. They were willing to play with fire there, feeling that, again, I'm just, putting myself into Kirby's head a little bit, but it's like, all right, well, we believe in our offense enough against this defense to come through and get this play. But even if we don't, sure, they'll put points up. Maybe we can hold them to a field goal. Even if it's a touchdown, we believe we can come back the other way and score again. So both these teams, I think, are operating with an element of confidence to where, again, I don't want to bet the under. Now, I don't want to bet the over either, but I'm not going to be surprised in the least if we do get a couple of fourth quarter touchdowns to get us there.
Yeah. I kind of lean that way a little bit. And you make a good point there about Kirby Smart electing to, pull off the fake punt or attempt it and successfully pull it off. It feels to me like both sides think if they don't hold serve, if they don't score, they're going to get beaten. And I can see that. I think that's, he obviously picked a perfect time to do the fake punt. He got points on the board. Gives himself a little comfort there. But I think probably the same thing exists for Ole Miss. The last thing I think you want to do is punt in this game right now, because that could be the end of your season if you do.
What do you suppose Miami is thinking watching this game? Because, all those Hurricanes players are probably gathered together in some, hotel conference room all watching this thing, or maybe they're doing it individually and in small groups and they'll come together to watch film tomorrow morning. I don't know. But obviously it's all eyes, coaching staff, players alike, on this game. What are they feeling watching this, knowing that the opponent coming up in the college football semifinals is coming out of this thing?
Well, first of all, they're probably very excited to be where they are. And obviously, they're full of confidence. They're a little bit fat and happy right now, right? It's hard to say that they're going to have a more difficult opponent the rest of the way than they did on Wednesday night in Ohio State, who's basically been the number one team in the country for quite a while now, the defending national champion. So I'm not sure. I imagine, Adam, one thing that is definitely topical amongst that Miami team right now is how the heck are people saying we are 5.5-point underdogs? That's got to be topic number one, right? No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think your guess there is good, and Nick Bogdanovich, backed that up. That's probably where he would start. We'll see what happens the rest of this game. But boy, that Miami defense is super impressive. I mean, what's the total going to be? In that, is that total going to be in the 40s? Not if it's Ole Miss, probably not. Maybe you get a total in the high 40s if it's Georgia.
Yeah, we've seen obviously a couple low-scoring games. Miami over Texas Tech in the opening round 10-3, and last night, obviously, against Ohio State 24-14. So a couple unders, a couple of pretty considerable unders at that. And man, Georgia, just knowing what this team, both these teams, quite frankly, are capable of offensively, I think you're right. I think it's in the 40s somewhere. Probably, boy, if we're just playing the game, and we'll find out. Yeah, well, all right, I'll guess first this time. You guessed first last time. I will go, I'm going to say 45.5. I'm going to go right in the middle.
Okay, yeah, I would have said 47.5. So we'll see. Okay. I hope Georgia does win this game. Obviously, I've got some skin in this game for them to win here. With the second leg of my money line parlay. And I kind of like that matchup better too. I'm not sure if I really, I think Georgia's the better team. I'd rather see them compete against Miami.
Well, look, who doesn't want to see Georgia, Indiana, unless you're an Oregon fan or one of these other schools up.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry? The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
I know exactly what Patriot Nation is screaming this morning. It's Drake May time. Give him the trophy. MVP. Stop it, please. Just sit down. Yes, Drake May has had a nice season. But let's be real. He has played a JV schedule of defenses. He is carving up the easiest slate of defenses in the NFL this season. Congratulations on your beatdown of the Jets.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The champagne pops. The clock strikes 12. But New Year's isn't won at midnight. It's won on the gridiron. Every snap, every number, every edge that matters. Don't just watch the ball drop. Watch the odds drop. College football playoff coverage. Live lines. Smart analysis. All New Year's Day. Only on SportsGrid.
it's getting interesting there at the Sugar Bowl. Ole Miss with a touchdown to go up in this game now against Georgia. Getting all the specifics in place, obviously, but boy, Chambliss, we said it earlier. He could be in for a 300-yard passing game, and that is exactly where he is. Anyway, just about it. 299, 89 on the ground for Lacey Wallace. What a game he is having. 8 for 144. Meanwhile, Stribling is 6 for 82. Ole Miss is on top after that score. Latest one, Lacey again, and 25 to 24. The 2-point conversion is good, and so make it 27 to 24 now, Brady. Ole Miss is leading this thing with 11 and a half to go in regulation, and now Ole Miss is a favorite, 1.5 point favorite, and that total is up to 61 and a half.
Yeah, and the game's going to fly over the total as far as what your pregame number was. I mean, we're at 51 points, just in a wink of an eye, really. You know, we were kind of wondering where this game was going to go. Well, now we know it's going over the total. You're basically a field goal away from clearing the pregame total, and like you said, the in-game number now back into the 60s. Boy, I might still play it over at this point, Adam. Georgia has not been able to stop Ole Miss all that often. A couple drives to start the second half. They turned it over on downs. Early on in this game, Ole Miss had to settle for some field goals. But I think more often than not, they've had success in moving the football well into Georgia territory. And I don't see that necessarily changing. It hasn't yet. You know, that Georgia defense that we talked about that's been so good for the last month or so, not all that great here this evening. With a whole quarter to play, they've given up 27 points. I think it's really going to be up to the Georgia offense, Adam, because if the offense, again, can't hold serve, we talked about that a moment ago as well. And I think the coaches feel that if you miss a beat, you're going to lose. And so I think this is going to come down to the Georgia offense if they're going to win this game.
Well, we already know they're going to be aggressive. There's no doubt about that. And they'll be kicking off Ole Miss to give Georgia the ball, and we'll find out. Again, 11 and a half to go in regulation. This one could be a photo finish. We will stay on with you until the game is over, rest assured. Who knows? I mean, maybe the math plays out and we have overtime. How exciting would that be in a college football playoff game, especially in the wake of the two duds that we saw earlier? But for anyone just joining us, let's get into a little bit of NFL while we're kind of monitoring everything and waiting some of this out, obviously. So you have the Panthers at the Buccaneers. Let's just start at the very beginning of this on Saturday with a couple of very interesting, very important games. The Panthers coming in at 8-8, the Bucs 7-9. As we know, the Panthers will clinch the NFC South and win the final available playoff spot with either a W in this game or a Falcons win. So a Falcons win can get them there even if they don't do their jobs, whereas the Buccaneers obviously clinched the title with a Falcons loss and a win of their own. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier, pardon me, with Larry Hartstein, the fact that, you know, this Bucs team has just been so poor of late, from 6-2 to now losing 7 of 8, and more than that even, Brady, as we look at this thing with, you know, Tampa being the narrow favorite. 8 straight losses against the spread for the Buccaneers. That is a record for the franchise in a single season. What are your expectations in this one, knowing full well that the Panthers, while not a great team and a dog more often than not this year, have 8 outright wins as an underdog, which is tied for an NFL record?
And typically they're so much better in that role at home. But you know what, Adam? I kind of think they're going to win this game. And Larry talked about it. Jamel Dean out for the Buccaneers in this game. That's big. Their secondary is really banged up. I mean, they're banged up all over the place. Tristan Wirfs has probably played in half the games this season. Mike Evans has played in maybe not even half the games this season. Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving has missed a lot of time. And if you also think back to the beginning of the season when the Buccaneers looked really good, and I think they got off to a 5-1 start or something like that. If you remember, they were pulling rabbits out of their hats, Baker Mayfield specifically. You know, they won, I want to say it was their first 5 wins or something like that. Every one of them came in the final minutes of the fourth quarter. So it feels like that is starting to catch up to them now. And you know, water's finding its level and they're not getting so lucky anymore. And they've also had really bad injury luck. So I like the Panthers side. My numbers come to the Buccaneers favored by a point. So I think getting a full field goal is a go.
I agree with you. And in fact, I do think the Panthers are going to win this game. We will do more NFL coming up and obviously a whole lot more college football as well, as Georgia trying to retake the lead here in college football playoff quarterfinal in the fourth quarter.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
I know exactly what Patriot Nation is screaming this morning. It's Drake May time. Give him the trophy. MVP. Stop it, please. Just sit down. Yes, Drake May has had a nice season. But let's be real. He has played a JV schedule of defenses. He is carving up the easiest slate of defenses in the NFL this season. Congratulations on your beatdown of the Jets.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The champagne pops. The clock strikes 12. But New Year's isn't won at midnight. It's won on the gridiron. Every snap, every number, every edge that matters. Don't just watch the ball drop. Watch the odds drop. College football playoff coverage. Live lines. Smart analysis. All New Year's Day. Only on SportsGrid.
Big decision on the way here for Georgia when they come out of a TV timeout, and that is what to do deep in your own territory from 4th and 2 here, Brady. As a matter of fact, 4th and 1 at the Georgia 34, down by 3 with about 10 minutes to go in regulation. Now, we saw the fake punt earlier in this half that led to a first down conversion and eventually a field goal, when at the time that grew Georgia's lead a little bit greater, but off of an Ole Miss touchdown to put the Rebels ahead by 3. How aggressive are you willing to be if you're Kirby Smart?
I mean, obviously, you're not going to do a fake punt again. You wouldn't think so, because, you've kind of already used that trick play. I think I would punt it here, Adam. There's 10 minutes left to go in the game. There is a lot of time. They haven't necessarily been able to stop Ole Miss. We've talked about that. But if you come up short here on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, whatever it is, boy, that's really tough. Then you could be down 10 points in the blink of an eye, and that might be the end of it. So I think you have to punt it here. I don't know. I don't know what Kirby's going to do. I don't know what he's got up his sleeve, but I think you probably have to punt it and hope your defense can step up and get a stop.
Well, we're going to find out here in a moment. It looks like, yeah, they had, it looked like they had the punt team on the field and then quickly pulled everybody off and put the offense back out there, and apparently a poor decision because it ends in a sack. And that's about the last thing you were looking for. You didn't even effectively get your play off. And so Ole Miss is going to get a brand new set of downs here, up by 3 and roughly at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, that I don't like that decision, and I also don't really know if I like a passing play there. You're subject to an interception, a sack, which occurred. I'm surprised the spread didn't move higher. Ole Miss was a 2.5-point favorite prior to that play in the live market, and now it's only 3.5. I mean, if Georgia holds them to a field goal here, that is absolutely a victory for the Bulldogs. But I'm not so sure they can. It's 1st and 10 now for Ole Miss as they get a first down on their very first play. They're now at the Georgia 12-yard line. They're moving the ball on offense, Adam, with very little resistance.
Well, hindsight's 20/20, but I won't accuse you of that because you were right on it. The punt looking like it would have been the right call because, like you said, this team already inside the red zone and threatening for a touchdown to make this thing a 2-possession game, which is a scary thought with about 9 or so minutes left if you're Georgia and seeing how the defense is playing. And that
Touchdown.
quickly, we get the Ole Miss touchdown. What it take? What it take? 3 plays, if that?
Yeah. I tell you, the only good news here for Georgia is it basically didn't take any time off the clock. It only took a minute. And maybe that's what Kirby Smart was thinking. Like, hey, if we punt it, we're just going to bleed more time and we have less time. So, okay, so you got 9 minutes now, but you're about to be down by 10. Tough sledding. And hey, congratulations, Ole Miss. They have put up one heck of an effort, and it looks like we're now going to have 58 points on the board. No matter what, Cab Farrar is celebrating. He's got the game over the total. Anybody that bet this prior to kickoff is clearly over the total at this point.
Yeah, and your live line, albeit at plus 130 to the over, is 65.5. Meanwhile, Ole Miss is a 6.5-point favorite with, again, about 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in this one. And I was pretty sure that we were going to be, good at the midpoint of this hour. This game is going to be over by the time we signed off. We may have to stay on a little bit longer for the conclusion of this thing because I'm not so sure it's going to be over now as we are looking at what is a 10-point lead for Ole Miss and Georgia in need of obviously points in a hurry. I mean, you really need the touchdown. I'm not even so sure you could feel good coming away with 3 here if at the baseline you do that. But at the very least, you need points and you need them in a hurry, whatever you're able to do to get this thing back to a 1-possession game.
I'm not so sure I wouldn't play over 65.5, Adam. That's a touchdown. I mean, it's 8 points to get you over that, but you need a touchdown. You would expect that in 9 minutes left in regulation, Georgia's probably going to get a touchdown. And I think there's a chance for sure that we could get overtime. Then you're going over 65.5, obviously no problem. So I might take a gamble. What'd you say? Overs plus 134. Looks like a nice bet. Pretty juicy plus money. 9 minutes left in this ball game. I think there's a good chance it goes over 65.5.
While we wait for Georgia to get the ball back, let's go back to the NFL and that Saturday night game, Brady, that we will be following along with when we are together here for in-game live game day coming up in, a little less than 48 hours, about 45 hours or so. Seahawks at the Niners, where, again, Larry talked about this, others have talked about this. I think you can make a very strong case. Both of these teams are obviously very good. Both are coming in riding 6-game winning streaks. You could talk until you're blue in the face about, Brock Purdy. He's 19-8 straight up at home, including 11-3 straight up in the month of December or later in his career, 5-0 in January or later. The Niners have won 7 out of the last 8 meetings. That's just kind of the one side. It's pro San Francisco. On the other, the matchup itself, I think maybe favors Seattle in some different ways, whether it's, the fact that San Francisco with some injuries on defense does not bring much of a pass rush on Sam Darnold. So you're not going to have the whole Darnold sees ghost thing. It's an average run defense. So maybe Walker, Charbonnet, that tandem can be productive in this one. I can't ignore that when the games matter the most, Sam Darnold tends to turtle. We saw it in the equally important Week 18 matchup with the Lions last year, playing for the division and for the number 1 overall seed and first round bye. And then, as Larry talked about, we saw it in that first playoff game, wild card weekend, where Darnold was immediately shipped out of Minnesota and had to find a new home. There was no turning back at that point. Only a couple weeks prior, players were literally carrying that guy around in the locker room, looked like he was going to be a Viking for life. I'm just not so sure that doesn't happen again. I mean, what's to convince me that there's this growth in Sam Darnold's game here in such a pivotal moment?
Well, one thing for you, an update, Georgia into Mississippi territory down to the 37-yard line very quickly in less than a minute. First and 10 from the Rebels' 37-yard line, 8 minutes and change left in regulation. So they are responding here offensively, are the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm not so sure if it's about Sam Darnold. Yeah, he's kind of earned that reputation. He's had another great campaign. Does he have as good a receivers as he had with Minnesota? Maybe not, but he's got JSN, who's outstanding. Yes, the defense for Seattle's better. San Francisco's not great against the run, but you know what? Seattle's rushing numbers aren't that great. You've got a couple of big names back there in Charbonnet and Walker, but they haven't performed all that great. The Seattle running game is not that good. I really think San Francisco's going to win the game because it feels like the whole world is just assuming that Seattle's the better team and they're going to win. I think the Niners put up a heck of a fight here, and I think they get the victory, Adam.
I agree with you. I'm on San Francisco in that game. I'm right along with you. I'm also trying to will my Christian McCaffrey Offensive Player of the Year ticket into existence. So I think there's a little bit of an emotional bet in there as well. Into the red zone goes Georgia. 1st and 10 at the Ole Miss 18. Stockton hit White Helton for 20 yards. So things far from over, folks. It's going to be a fun finish. 15-0 unanswered for Ole Miss in the fourth quarter, but Georgia trying to change.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Light League will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
I know exactly what Patriot Nation is screaming this morning. It's Drake May time. Give him the trophy. MVP. Stop it, please. Just sit down. Yes, Drake May has had a nice season. But let's be real. He has played a JV schedule of defenses. He is carving up the easiest slate of defenses in the NFL this season. Congratulations on your beatdown of the Jets.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The champagne pops. The clock strikes 12. But New Year's isn't one at midnight. It's one on the gridiron. Every snap, every number, every edge that matters. Don't just watch the ball drop. Watch the odds drop. College football playoff coverage. Live lines. Smart analysis. All New Year's Day. Only on SportsGrid.
Touchdown for Branch, followed by an extra point, and this game is far from over, Brady. Here in the Sugar Bowl, it is now 34-31. Ole Miss is leading Georgia with a lot of time left in this college football playoff quarterfinal round. The winner moves on, obviously, to face Miami, as we have been talking about in a week. But 7:03 left in regulation. You were talking about, hey, do we believe at right around plus 135 we are going to get another touchdown plus a point, another 8 points? Well, guess what? You need one more point to cash that over if you played it along with us. And oh, by the way, if you want to invest now, it continues to balloon. 72.5 is the in-game number at plus 140 as well. Meanwhile, the spread is down to 2.5. However, Ole Miss is still favored here. What are you expecting on this defensive opportunity for Georgia?
It's going to have to be one of their best ones of the night. I can tell you that if they want to win this football game. Boy, I tell you, 7 minutes to go here. This is a tough one to figure out at this point, Adam. I mean, that was very impressive by Georgia. And you look back and what we were talking about Kirby Smart electing to go for it there. Not really sure if I love his play call. Great job by the Mississippi defense. They sacked the quarterback. But maybe in the long run, it was better than punting the ball back to Ole Miss and having them eat up 5 or 6 minutes off the clock because they just ran down the other end of the field and literally scored in less than 2 minutes. I mean, between Ole Miss scoring their touchdown and Georgia scoring their touchdown took 3 minutes of game clock. So you've still got half the quarter left here, really, and now you're only down by 3. So that really kind of worked out in Georgia's favor. I don't know if he was thinking that far ahead, but it kind of makes sense now looking back, hindsight's 2020, in going for it and preserving time left in this game.
Well, and in just achieving it as quickly as they did, you noted it, just 2 minutes basically to score that touchdown. So we are seeing efficiency on both sides offensively, which is a credit to the offense, not so much to the defense. But again, a question of what Georgia's able to do here against Ole Miss, and whether or not I'm just sort of curious to see, and we'll find out what Ole Miss is going to do stylistically, because this has been, basically like a 2-1, pretty damn close to it in terms of the pass versus the run. Chambliss has thrown the ball 40 times for 322 yards. They have run the ball efficiently, 4.3 per carry, 25 yards for 108. Obviously, the strategy is run the ball, bleed as much clock as you can, hope to pick up some first downs along the way. But they've had far more success when it comes to passing the ball than running the ball. So, again, from a coaching standpoint, I wonder how actively you're leaning into the run here.
Well, I tell you what, we've got an interesting play coming up here, and I imagine this is going to be yet another passing play. As you illustrate, Ole Miss has certainly been pass happy. 3rd and 5 is what I'm seeing, and now 4th and 5. So now that coaching decision is back on the Rebels. 4th and 5, Adam, from their own 30-yard line. About 5.5 minutes left to go in regulation. You lead by 3. What do? If you're Ole Miss at this point, the tables have turned as far as the tough decision making.
To me, easy for me to say sitting here talking to you on a Thursday night, New Year's Day. I don't think it's tough at all. I am punting. I'm not even hesitating. I am absolutely punting the ball away. It would be, to me, and I know we just saw Kirby Smart do this in what some people all over social media are saying was like the height of lunacy. I mean, it was aggressive. It was ballsy.
It worked out.
It didn't work.
It worked out in his favor.
Well, in some ways. I mean, it could have just as easily not. Like, you gave up a quick touchdown. Sure. Your offense came back and scored a quick touchdown of its own. Would have been very easy for it to not deliver and achieve that. To me, you are playing with fire here with less than 6 minutes to go in regulation if you go for this and you don't get it.
Georgia is back in the role of the favorite. They are 1.5-point favorites in the live market. Ole Miss did elect to punt, but the punt was returned all the way to the Ole Miss 30-yard line. And now maybe there was a foul maybe there was a foul, but Georgia has the ball basically at midfield now. I'm showing 1st and 10 Bulldogs. Let me see if this has changed. Yeah, it must have been some sort of foul, because originally I saw that the punt was returned to the 30-yard line of Mississippi. Now I'm seeing Georgia at their own 47, 1st and 10, just over 5 minutes left in regulation. But boy, that's a big turn right there. Even Georgia having the ball at midfield is fantastic field position. And what a great defensive stand. We said that's going to have to be their best one of the night. So far, so good for Georgia backers.
Yeah, it looks like they started at the 36, and the 12-yard run for Frazier got him to the 48. Like you said, 1st and 10, basically at midfield here for Georgia. And that live line, as you noted, Georgia back to a 2.5-point favorite at -114. Your total 72.5 plus 168 to the over on that. By the way, we are sitting at 65 points. So again, your quick math, you need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, or a touchdown and another score after that. I don't know that we're going to get there. I'm not looking to bet the over on that, even though the way this thing has trended, nothing's going to shock me at this point, Brady. This has been a crazy game.
65. Yeah, you need the tough part is the hook there on top of that 72.5, because Georgia obviously wants a touchdown. They don't want to tie this up.
Yeah.
No. And it's that situation we see in both the NFL and college football. 4.5 minutes left in this game. You're at midfield. Ideally, you want to go score a touchdown and leave Ole Miss no time. And that's a tough balance, I think, as an offensive coordinator, a head coach, what have you. 2nd and 8 with 4.5 minutes is what I'm seeing Georgia from their own 49-yard line.
Yep. That's what I've got as well. And again, waiting out the play call, so we'll find out what happens next. Stockton is up to 188 passing, by the way, and Frazier 86 on the ground. Young is the leading receiver now, 44 on the Georgia side. But we are down under 5 minutes, 4:46 to go, fourth quarter. Georgia need of at least a field goal to tie this thing up. Stay with us.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
I know exactly what Patriot Nation is screaming this morning. It's Drake May time. Give him the trophy. MVP. Stop it, please. Just sit down. Yes, Drake May has had a nice season. But let's be real. He has played a JV schedule of defenses. He is carving up the easiest slate of defenses in the NFL this season. Congratulations on your beatdown of the Jets.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The champagne pops. The clock strikes 12. But New Year's isn't one at midnight. It's one on the gridiron. Every snap, every number, every edge that matters. Don't just watch the ball drop. Watch the odds drop. College football playoff coverage. Live lines. Smart analysis. All New Year's Day. Only on SportsGrid.
Pivotal moment here between Ole Miss and Georgia. It's 4th and 9 at the Georgia 48, so basically midfield. The Bulldogs a decision to make, down by 3, 3:25 to go in regulation here in this one, trying to advance to the college football playoff semifinals against Miami here, Brady. Now, 2 timeouts left for Ole Miss. They just used 1, and all 3 still available, plus, of course, the 2-minute timeout on the other side for Georgia. So, sounds like they're going for it. I don't like the call.
Well, I'll tell you what, it worked in their favor. They got it. 4th and 10, 4th and 9, what have you. They get it. They convert. They're to the Mississippi 35-yard line now. 1st and 10, 3 minutes left to go in regulation, down by 3. And just like that, they move to a 3.5-point favorite in the live market. What a gutsy call right there with the season on the line. If you don't convert that 4th and 10, you lose the game. That's the end of your season. And maybe that's what he was figuring. You know, you and I were talking off air with 3 minutes left, with all 3 timeouts, with the 2-minute timeout, with, stoppages on first down in the last 2 minutes. There's a lot of time left. I thought, you and I both thought he was going to punt it. He did not. And boy, what a play. And now Georgia in position to really at least get a tie out of this. And we could be headed to extra football, Adam.
17-yard pickup for Branch is what got him there, obviously. And I'm looking at my screen here. We got a flag on the play.
Yeah, 1st and 20.
It's on the Georgia. I think it's on. Yeah. Yeah, we got a hold. And so that's going to bring things back just a little bit.
Right there.
Well, it's a potentially.
They got to get.
It takes you out of field goal range as things sit at the moment.
Right. So you really probably need at least 15 yards to have a relatively comfortable field goal. 20 yards, you're looking good. But probably at least 15 yards, and now 2nd and 20. They're going to need some yards here. 2.5 minutes left in regulation. I'm seeing Georgia now has become an underdog on the money line in the live market, plus 105 on the Bulldogs to win this game. That's maybe not a bad bet to make right now, Adam. This game is a ways from over, and you can get the Georgia Bulldogs, who are a 6-7 point favorite pregame at plus money to win it. Very interesting. And now 3rd and 10, so they get 10 yards back. Long field goal at this point, 52-yarder. And like I said, you probably need at least another 5 yards to feel comfortable. They need another 10 yards to get a new set of downs.
Wasn't all that long ago, earlier in the show, we were debating whether plus 540 on the money line for Ole Miss made sense. And here they are, obviously. So 3rd and 9 at the Ole Miss 35, 2:24 to go, 4th quarter, down by 3. So Georgia, again, you'd love a touchdown, obviously, if you're the Bulldogs, but baseline, you got to come away with a field goal here. Even though, look, you deal with what you've got. If you can get the field goal and you tie the game, you hope your defense stands tall again. But this just feels like one of your quintessential last team with the ball wins it, doesn't it?
It does. And I think Georgia caught a nice break there with the 2-minute timeout coming up. You've got basically exactly 2 minutes left. I'm showing 1:59, 2 minutes left in regulation here, and they're facing 3rd and 10. So that was kind of like a real nice free timeout there for Kirby Smart and company to design a play. And gosh, Adam, what if they get it to 4th and 1 or 4th and 2? Are they kicking to tie at that point? Or I got to believe they go for it again. If they get 4th and short, I think they're going for it again.
Man, that shows a real lack of. It's two things, right? It's either believing that is a very susceptible defense on the other side, which it is, or it's a real lack of faith in your own defense, which maybe it is that as well. I don't know. I would have trouble. That's a tough call.
This timeout is really interesting because I think you've got time to figure out the entire situation. Are we going to try and, run a 10, 12 yard play here? Or are we going to try and run an 8-yard play and go for it again? Like I say, that 2-minute timeout came at an advantageous time for Georgia because they've got time to figure out how they want to attack this on 3rd and 10.
I'm getting too in the weeds with this, but here's where my head goes. If you get to 4th and 2, you take your offense back out on the field, but you're just trying to bait them out off sides to get the first down. If you don't get it, you take the penalty, you kick the 3. That's where I would go. But I'm not so sure they'd be thinking the same way. We'll find out.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Light League will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
I know exactly what Patriot Nation is screaming this morning. It's Drake May time. Give him the trophy. MVP. Stop it, please. Just sit down. Yes, Drake May has had a nice season. But let's be real. He has played a JV schedule of defenses. He is carving up the easiest slate of defenses in the NFL this season. Congratulations on your beatdown of the Jets.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The champagne pops. The clock strikes 12. But New Year's isn't won at midnight. It's won on the gridiron. Every snap, every number, every edge that matters. Don't just watch the ball drop. Watch the odds drop. College football playoff coverage. Live lines. Smart analysis. All New Year's Day. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, Ole Miss screwed up. A pass interference penalty led to a big Georgia gain, and so now we're looking at the Bulldogs 2nd and 7 at the 17-yard line, down by 3, $1:46 left here in regulation, Brady.
And we're almost back to that plus 520 money line on Ole Miss you were talking about that, looked pretty juicy earlier, and then we were kind of poo-pooing it. Well, it's now plus 285. Georgia's minus 400. First and goal, Bulldogs.
Another penalty too. It was another holding penalty that got the job.
You hate to see a game end that way. And obviously I'm not looking at the screen here, and hey, if it's a foul, it's a foul. You got to call it that way. But you want to see these players decide the game, and maybe they are. Maybe it was certainly worthy of a call. But first and goal, now second and goal from the Mississippi 3-yard line with just a minute and change left in this football game. Georgia moves to minus 460 on the money line. You and I are Georgia backers here, Adam. We obviously want to see them get in the end zone. I don't want to see another situation of a 4th and goal, and what's Kirby Smart going to do?
No.
I got to believe he kicks it to tie it up at that point. I don't know. He's been surprising.
The thing that enters my mind in this situation, and I'm sure is on the coaching staff's mind, is you want to score. That's the top priority. You want a touchdown. But you also don't want to do it too quickly. You don't want to give Ole Miss a full minute to work with. And, I don't know what the timeout situation is here. I'd have to look that up.
Ole
But
Miss is down to one. Ole Miss is down to just one timeout.
And probably going to have to use it here along the way, before it even gets the ball back. Because Georgia, I suspect, especially second and goal at the 3, you're going to keep on trying to run. So you try and get in. If you stop short, they're going to have to use the timeout just to stop the clock. And so you get what I'm saying. The Rebels don't want to, the Bulldogs don't want to give the Rebels, 45, 50 seconds to get downfield because they can.
Well, Georgia just lost yardage. It's 3rd and goal from now the Mississippi 6-yard line. And it looks like Ole Miss did indeed take its last. I'm assuming they took their last time out. I don't know how they. Not. Okay,
Yeah,
they did. Okay, so now Ole Miss is out of timeouts, and we've got just about exactly a minute left in this game. 3rd and goal for Georgia. It's exactly what we thought, that Mississippi was going to have to exhaust all of their timeouts. And so now Georgia, interesting situation. I think you have to score here, Adam. I don't know. I'm betting the way Kirby Smart has been behaving in the second half. I think if they don't get it here, they go for it on 4th down. I don't know if he's playing for a tie.
It's hard to disagree with you. Again, he has been incredibly aggressive. He's had some calls go their way as well, but they've had to make things happen on their own. The offense absolutely has been able to do that. So looking to see what they do here. 3rd and goal with, again, as you said, 64 seconds remaining in regulation. Obviously, season on the line for both these teams, trying to advance to face Miami next week in the college football playoff semifinal. And
4th and goal. 4th and goal is what I'm saying.
Yeah, my TV is a little bit behind, but
4th and goal from the 6-yard line. 58
yeah, they went to the back at the
now
end.
left
So
on
it
the
was
clock.
long pass, little too long.
And so now what does
obviously.
he do?
I would kick.
Oh, they're going to kick it.
Yeah.
I guess they are. And
I mean,
now,
like at a certain point, aggressiveness becomes stupidity.
right? Yeah. Well, now it's a pick 'em to win this football game. Basically minus 110 either way. And it's good. Field goal is good. So we're tied 34 apiece. We might be working overtime. No pun intended.
I think we already are. We're already into it.
What a
We might
game.
be,
Great game, man. It's about time.
Yeah.
I said we talked about at the top of the show, maybe bookend entertaining playoff games here is exactly what it's been.
Yeah.
I thought Miami and Ohio State last night was thrilling. The two sandwiched in between today. If you're on Oregon and Indiana, that's great, but they weren't good watches. They weren't good games to watch, in my opinion. Now we got another beauty here to wrap up the quarterfinals.
We're on different coasts, but we might be taking this thing into Friday, my time, and God willing, not on your time. I'll tell you that much. I don't know how many overtimes that would take, obviously. But, yeah, compelling finish on the way. We said it, though. Last team with the ball wins. It had that kind of feel to it. This is the opportunity to be proven right if that ends up happening with Ole Miss. As Georgia backers, we certainly hope not, obviously. But 34 apiece,
We know
55 seconds left.
we know Ole Miss has a kicker that's capable. He's hit 2 long ones better than 50 yards already this evening. So, and they're playing indoors. They're in a dome. You don't have to worry about wind or anything like that. So good kicking conditions. You figure they get to the Georgia 35-yard line and they could be in business for a victory here and a big upset.
Man, you really needed that touchdown there. Really needed that touchdown. So to dive into this thing again, feels like a little bit since Ole Miss has had the ball offensively. 322 passing for Chambliss, as we've mentioned a couple of times, and those 2 touchdowns. Lacey, 94 on the ground and multiple scores. Wallace, he has been the guy. You got to take him out of this thing somehow. 9 for 156 and a touchdown, although Stribling, to his credit, 6 for 82. He has been excellent as well. And on the other side for Georgia, Gunnar Stockton, 215 passing, a touchdown. Frazier, the leading rusher, 86 yards. Stockton does have 20, but 2 touchdowns on the ground. And Branch, 8 for 67. So he's been the chain mover here on the Georgia side.
Well, looks like Ole Miss may have a favorable kickoff position here as far as field position because they have now moved to the favorite. And it could just be because they have the ball. But the money line in the live market has moved to Ole Miss minus 132. I'm not seeing – it looks like, okay, they've got a first and 10 at their own 25. Yeah, so no, they haven't even run a play yet. 56 seconds
like you
regulation
more about
is
being
what I'm showing.
Well, would be fun to get overtime, obviously, with so much at stake, so much on the line. That would be a blast for these two teams. They are first play's a run, and not quite a first, but Lacey takes it down to just nearly the 40. And so, again, you got the kicker on the sideline warming up and getting loose.
Because Ole Miss doesn't have any timeouts, so you know, all of a sudden 20 seconds are off the clock right there. With now that must have been an incomplete pass. The clock,
okay,
yeah. Interesting that they chose a running play, right? No timeouts, and
Yeah, I'm with you. Although, I mean, you just got to figure, you got to move the chains regardless, right? Whatever you feel like is the most efficient way of doing so, and they have run the ball well. I mean, short of that, I mean, even that last pass, it wasn't over the middle of the field, but it wasn't along the sideline either, so they don't seem too concerned by the clock at this point in time. So that surprises me just a little. There's a player down on the field, so that's we've got out at the moment.
Okay, because Georgia did not take a timeout. I thought maybe they would have if they think they can get the ball back, but no, a player injury has stalled this drive here. 3rd and 5 for Ole Miss. 33 seconds left in regulation.
Yeah, we'll end up having to step aside here, and maybe we'll get a play or two during our commercial break. We will find out. But some key pivotal moments here. About 30 seconds to go in the Sugar Bowl. Stay with us for, again, a photo finish.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry? The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
I know exactly what Patriot Nation is screaming this morning. It's Drake May time. Give him the trophy. MVP. Stop it, please. Just sit down. Yes, Drake May has had a nice season. But let's be real. He has played a JV schedule of defenses. He is carving up the easiest slate of defenses in the NFL this season. Congratulations on your beatdown of the Jets.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The champagne pops. The clock strikes 12. But New Year's isn't won at midnight. It's won on the gridiron. Every snap, every number, every edge that matters. Don't just watch the ball drop. Watch the odds drop. College football playoff coverage. Live lines. Smart analysis. All New Year's Day. Only on SportsGrid.
We're into the final 10 seconds of the Sugar Bowl in regulation, 34 apiece, but Ole Miss has done a hell of a job to move the ball downfield here and pick up a huge first down that got them first right around the 30 and now have inched closer. And we're looking at what is in all likelihood going to be a roughly, Brady, 47-yard kick, you said, for this Ole Miss kicker with an opportunity to win this game and prevent overtime and advance to face Miami in the semifinal of the college football playoff. This is exactly what I was outlining before that you were worried about as a Georgia backer. You kick the field goal and you give Ole Miss too much time. A full minute, basically, to work with, and it may cost you.
Well, you got to give credit to the Rebels. They had no timeouts, and it was that one play on 3rd and 5 from their own 30-yard line or so where the quarterback, Chambliss, just kind of drops it up over the top. They had a good pass rush, did the Georgia Bulldogs, putting pressure on Chambliss. Looks like there might have been a couple of blitzers involved as well, but he kind of just lobbed it over the top, and the wide receiver had good separation on the defensive back. I want to say, a full yard and a half or so. The defensive back was lucky. I thought it might have been a touchdown. The defensive back was lucky to tackle him where he did. There's your ball game pretty much, Adam. Looks like that field goal is up and good.
Yeah, it hasn't happened on my screen yet, but I will trust you. That's unfortunate, obviously, if you're a Georgia backer, as we are. And I know you mentioned it. You had it. Sure enough, it is good. Ole Miss going to win and advance to face Miami, and we will find out. We were hypothesizing what's a Miami-Georgia line look like. Well, what's Ole Miss and Miami going to look like?
Yeah.
Because that is going to be the matchup coming up in a week in the college football playoff semifinal. I don't know if you hedged your hedge, my friend. You mentioned that you had that Georgia and Indiana money line parlay ticket. Wish it could have come home for you. I was rooting on Georgia as well. But congrats to Ole Miss. That was a hell of a fight and a hell of a ball game.
Yeah, unfortunately, I lost my futures ticket on Alabama and my hedge today. I didn't want to hedge simply with Indiana because it didn't make any sense mathematically. In Indiana,
Sure.
what was their price on the money line today? Minus 350 or so, and so,
Sure.
hey, you win some, you lose some, but you know who I really think deserves some credit here is Pete Golding, the interim head coach for Ole Miss. We were talking with Colby Dant, Pete Golding versus Kirby Smart with, 4 weeks to prepare. What a job by this guy. He takes care of Tulane with relative ease, and now against Georgia. And, I would say the fan base was probably split playing in New Orleans. You're very close to Mississippi, very close to Georgia, and he gets it done in just, incredible fashion as, again, a touchdown underdog. And the people that were betting on Ole Miss, we saw that money come in kind of slowly but surely here. It was 7.5 in favor of Georgia, then 7, then 6.5, all the way down to 6 pretty much in a lot of books at close. And all those people that were betting the Rebels got paid.
How about this, Brady? The game ends on a safety. So 39-34, the final score in this one. And that gets us to, actually, that's big. That gets us to 73 points. Remember, we were talking about over 72.5 was the number at plus 140 or whatever it was. I didn't invest in it, but.
Are you seeing that final posted for sure? Are you seeing that final confirmed? Because my scoreboard here says.
I see it on the ESPN score bug on the television.
Okay.
I don't see it on. I don't
got 37, 34.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have 37. Very interesting. I am not seeing a 39 anywhere, and that is important.
Yeah. It is. I mean, depending on where you invested, it doesn't impact the spread at all of this game.
No,
because again, we were looking at a greater number of closer to a touchdown. But man, hell of a game. Do you have
a real happy camper right now? Nick Bogdanovich. I think he was on Ole Miss personally, and that's a big win for Boomer Sportsbooks. I imagine the sportsbooks did very well with an outright win, not just Ole Miss covering, but an outright win over Georgia. I mean, there's probably a lot of people like me that had the Bulldogs in a money line parlay that turns out to be a loser.
So they are reviewing the final play as to whether the safety will count or not. But at the moment, it is listed there. So notable again, if you did have to jump in and invest in the plus 140 on over 72.5. But I don't know how many people were, quite Deegan enough to do it, if you will.
Well, fun game anyway. Would have liked it to fall our way, but we got an entertaining one, that's for sure.
I was just looking to see if we had anything out as far as, potential line for the matchup, Ole Miss and Miami, and I don't see anything yet. But again, these two teams will face off in the Fiesta Bowl, 7:30 Eastern, 1 week from today. So that'll be a fun one coming up on a Thursday. But let me ask you, any early thoughts on that matchup? Because I will say, even though I was rooting on Georgia, you were rooting on Georgia in terms of our wallets, I think in some ways the matchup, Ole Miss against Miami, is more compelling as a viewer because I have much less certainty internally as to who is going to win.
Everybody loves an underdog, right? And now you've got two of them. What was Miami, as big as a 10-point underdog, and Ole Miss as big as maybe a 7.5-point dog or something like that. And now they're going to face off against one another. That's cool to begin with. You also have to believe that the path for either Oregon or Indiana to win the national championship just became a little quote unquote easier, without Georgia involved. And so very interesting. I got to love it, man. Best time of the year for football, that's for sure.
Got to get through Oregon first, obviously, in that Peach Bowl coming up in 8 days.
That's no easy task. And that's a rematch, which is very interesting too,
Absolutely. Been a fun show. Want to thank all of our guests, obviously. We had Cav, Nick, we had Larry, Steve, and everybody behind the scenes. We thank all of you. And boy, what a way to kick off 2026. Brady and I will be back together Saturday night, and a lot more NFL to get you ready for Week 18. You can bet on that. Happy New Year, sir.